Hi, my name is Ariane Cloutier, and today I'll be talking to you about adopt, don't shop. Starting off, we will be going over some statistics about animals in shelters that are euthanized or end up just dying in about a year. In shelters and rescues, there are about 1.5 million dogs, 3 million shelter cats, and about 100,000 horses that either die or are euthanized throughout the year. The dogs and the cats are typically euthanized or die from medical conditions while in the adoption system, while horses, on the other hand, are either in the rescues or at the kill pens. By the Humane Society, they listed that the 100,000 horses are actually just from the kill pen alone, so that doesn't even discuss how many horses die or have to be euthanized at the rescue centers when they are rescued. Dogs and cats typically can also be very healthy, which leads us into our next point. Many pets die in the shelters that are both healthy or at least treatable, but not all these adoption centers have the money to pay and take care of some of these sick animals, especially some that may have more severe tumors or severe arthritis. They prioritize the puppies and the smaller animals first, so many of these healthy or slightly sick animals end up dying or being euthanized in shelters. Moving on, pets should not be given as a gift without thorough consideration because they're a lifetime commitment. Giving a puppy to someone that may not be ready for a puppy means that dog is now on the streets and in the shelter at a year old, 2 years old, 3 years old, even 10, when the owner decides it no longer wants to take care of the pet. Now that pet is in the adoption system and nobody wants that pet. That means that the pet may die in the shelter and may never find a home and would have to live its life wondering what it did wrong. Continuing on, there are so many options to find the right pet, and they're limitless if you do the correct research. So when finding your pet, you can search it up. You can talk to your vet. You can talk to the Humane Society. You can talk to family members, and it's just about considering your research and going out and actively finding the right thing. As I said in one of our previous points, you don't just want to go in and adopting a pet as a gift or even just as an occasion without thoroughly considering what exactly you want in a pet, how much time you're willing to put into it, and why you are even getting a pet in the first place. The benefits of having pets you get them from adoption centers is you can save them for stuff like this. That pets in the shelters or the rescues are consistently battling emotional stress. Having been to a horse rescue in a slaughterhouse, you walk through and see the horses that are just, they've accepted defeat. Some of them were lesson horses. Some of them were horses that pulled carts or did shows and performed badly or had an injury, and someone said, I can't take care of you, and so they took them to an auction, but the horse never got sold. So they got sent to the slaughterhouse, and many of these horses could have lived to bigger potentials. So when they end up going from something that's a loved home to a kill pen, they tend to develop a lot of emotional stress. The same goes for dogs. When they're sitting in a kennel for countless periods of times, or cats when they're meant to be roaming around. And according to the Cummins Veterinary School of Veterinary Medicine, it is being relinquished to an animal shelter is a drastic change in a stressful experience for an animal. Signs that can be noticed in the shelters can be such as hiding in the back of their kennel, their stall, or their cage. It can stop eating, it can have vomiting issues, it can increase its barking or its noise from horses, cats, and dogs, or any other animal in the system. And it can also increase urinating and defecating. And most of that is in just dogs, and there are far more other signs when it comes to horses, cats, lizards, cows, birds, and far more animals that are out there in the adoption system. So next we will be talking about pros to adopting. According to the Humane Society, you are saving them from a chance of dying alone in a shelter, and you will be giving them a far better second chance on life to be able to prove to them and to you that they're worth something. You'll end up with an amazing animal Most of these animals have an emotional bond and have a gratitude for you rescuing them that is unbreakable. One of the best benefits is it can cost far less for those than instead of purchasing from a breeder. It does have some bragging rights, because who doesn't want to brag about an animal they just rescued? And it does help fight puppy mills and keeps them out of business. However, there are cons to adoption. You may be able to unfind the breed you want. You might have to wait longer to receive your pet, as sometimes there are waiting periods for your pet if there is a wait list or maybe the dog hasn't been through surgery. There are lots of paperwork, and you do have to give a lot of personal information based on pets and family members. And your pet could have special needs that you're unaware of that the adoption system may not know of. And they could also turn out to be different than what you first saw at the shelter. There are some benefits to purchasing a pet. You can choose the breed you want. They can be bred to perform specific and special jobs, such as Australian Shepherds, which help herd along with Border Collies, or German Shepherds as police dogs. You're able to resell if something doesn't work out, where adoption systems make you give them back. And they could also have some better bloodlines. There are definitely cons to purchasing a pet. You can promote and support breeders that are not responsible and may not take proper care of the animals. It can be extremely expensive. They could be lying about bloodlines and could have underlying conditions like German Shepherds and hip dysplasia. And pets don't usually come altered, like some shelters will even spay or neuter your dog for you. In the end, adopting should be your first choice because it saves lives and gives them a second lease on life. It's a great way to keep irresponsible breeders out of the business. So I urge you to adopt, not shop, and continue on doing the best you can. Most of my sources came from the Humane Society, the Cummins School of Veterinary Medicine, the National Kitten Coalition, and the Dummies A Wiley brand. Thank you so much.